Hey, my friends. Good evening. Thanks so much for being here. We're getting set for the December 25th holiday. And of course, we're facing all of the war on Christmas stuff that comes out of Fox News and out of many churches and religious institutions. I almost titled the broadcast, "We Won the War on Christmas." But I am curious about, Christmas when it comes to the atheists. Not that we're doing what they say we're doing, lurking around the neighborhoods trying to abduct the baby Jesus so that no one can have a nativity in their yards, and tearing down the crosses at churches that commemorate the sacrifice of Christ after he was born. And, they talk about us like we are at war with the individual and independent right to celebrate the holiday as you see fit. All we do is we say, well, you don't need Christ in Christmas. And they're like, well, if Christ is in the name, how can you not celebrate Christmas religiously? In other words, as a Christian. And I always say to them, well, do you enjoy your Wednesday? Because that's named after Woden or Odin. How about Saturday, named after the god Saturn, or the month of March, named after Mars, or January, named after Janus? We look at all of these names of days, dates, calendar events, special occasions, holidays, whatever, but we're looking at them through the lens of the 21st century. Culturally, Christmas is just the name we give the holiday. It doesn't mean that we believe in or celebrate a Christ. You don't need Christ. In fact, I was looking at an article I'm going to share in just a few that talks about the fact that here in the United States, at least, fewer and fewer people are celebrating the holiday religiously. The holiday for them means something else, and I'm interested in those statistics. The article's a couple of years old, but this broadcast is just about you and how you, as a secular person, as a heathen, celebrate or even don't celebrate the December 25th holiday. Do you have traditions that you like or don't like? Or the things about the holiday that drive you crazy? If you want to just vent about Christmas, just let me know. The phone number is on the screen. Let me pull it up here along with the chat window so everybody can follow along. You can dial into the switchboard and sound off. Real fast first, though, I was just curious to see if there were any atheist Christmas cards out there, because there's a ton of religious ones. But are there any great atheist Christmas cards? And the answer is no, not really, or not many. There are a few that have been flying around for a while. I've got one pulled up here. It says, "All I want for Christmas is a rationalist view of a universe governed by physical laws." I thought, well, that's catchy, but it's an atheist Christmas card. Here's another one. "Axial tilt is the reason for the season." "Let's put the Christ back in Christmas. For example, when's that turkey going to be ready? I'm starving, for Christ's sake." Or, "Jesus Christ, another pair of socks? Thanks a lot, Mom." Put the Christ back in Christmas. "On this day, a child was born who, by age 30, would transform the world. Happy birthday, Isaac Newton." Another one says, "It wasn't easy to find a Christmas card for an atheist, but this one was the natural selection." Guess that qualifies as dad humor, maybe. "The naivety scene. Don't pray, think." And finally, I saw one it's just a meme from some e-cards. It says, "May you have more sex and fewer unexpected pregnancies than the Virgin Mary had this holiday season." I thought, well, that's nice. That's a beautiful sentiment. I don't know. I couldn't find a great site for atheist Christmas cards. Somebody's missing out on a market because, without necessarily even being snarky, you could do a whole slew of secular-themed or science-themed or humanist-themed cards, target them to the specific audience. I think that would be amazing. I've been a little out of the pocket as far as live streams recently. If I'm to be honestly, I've had just a little bit of the holiday blues. You ever get that? I mean, I don't have seasonal affective disorder, not that I know of, but over the past several weeks, I have I've just been struggling with this just kind of blah, bluesy kind of vibe that's kept me from really getting into the game, getting into the Christmas season, even though I enjoy Christmas. I've also been fighting a little bit, actually a lot, of cynicism about the holiday. Do you ever go through that? I mean, is it weird for me to say that I love Christmas and I kind of hate it at the same time? And not really necessarily for any religious reasons. Let me just vent for just a second, okay? Most of us can probably remember a time this year, probably well before Thanksgiving, maybe before Halloween, when, we were at a department store and you're shopping for the basics, the necessities of life, right? School barely in session, you're just off of Labor Day. The temps are probably still in the 60s. The trees haven't even turned yet. And you're there in the department store and you turn a corner and you find yourself looking at an aisle that already looks like a freaking snow globe. It's little red and green Christmas ornaments, it's tinsel, it's wreaths for the door, it's candy canes and little angel figurines for the top of the tree, and the Santa statues and the ribbons and the garland and the Christmas lights on artificial trees. And there it is, September, and it's already there. And you're just standing there. And then maybe you open your ears and finally begin to pay attention more to the environment, and you hear those little bells, those Christmas bells. Ding, 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 Those a little bit too happy Christmas bells that seem almost like they're trying to force feed the holiday to you. It's almost a manufactured sweetness that they're trying to ram down your throat. And you actually kind of retch a little bit. You say, Jesus Christ, it's September, or it's October, for Pete's sake. This is Commerce Christmas. Why are we starting this soon? I didn't ask for this. We say I didn't ask for this. But, on some level, maybe we actually do. I mean, by the fact that we support the retailers, we support the mechanisms that provide all of this marketable stuff for the holidays. Maybe that's our fault in some way. The economists are always declaring the success or failure of the holiday based on what? On retail sales. How they do at Walmart. How did Target do this year? What about Best Buy? What are sales figures this year? And they gauge the success or failure of the holiday based on how much shit people put in their cart and take home and wrap up and give away or get. You see those television commercials? Those TV commercials where some beautiful people come out of a beautiful house on a beautiful night and there's a beautiful new car with a bow on it right in the driveway. Oh, thank you. You gave me a 5-year payment book for Christmas. Doesn't your loved one deserve this? That kind of thing. The jewelry commercials are the ones that make me crazy. Even more beautiful people looking in each other's eyes, and someone gives someone else a diamond, a pendant, earrings, necklace, whatever. And these become little measuring devices for love, supposedly. Right? If you really love someone, you could do the $100 necklace, but we have an $1,100 necklace. In fact, we actually have an $11,000 option with 0% financing for X number of months. Show that person you really care this Christmas, and then they end with an embrace and the music swells and it just, I feel that cynicism just sort of backing up in my throat. I don't like being that guy. What is Christmas teach us about the giving and receiving of things? And how often are people giving those gifts out of obligation? How many people are turning their children into little materialists? Now, I'm not saying don't give your kids tons of gifts. I'm not saying that. But how often have we seen somebody open it up, a gift, and they're like, I didn't get what so-and-so got, or my gift isn't as good as they are. My gift compels My gift pales compared to the gift given to someone else. I was cheated out of a good Christmas. Me, mine. Get. Stuff. I mean, we just saw the Mr. Rogers documentary. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. And it's a brilliant little documentary about Fred Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And he was talking about how that, we live in a culture that turns kids into little consumers. Everything is a toy or a game or a commodity to be purchased. And so how do you draw that line between giving them the good stuff, having those moments where you unwrap the gifts and they get to tear into it and they're smiling and laughing and, oh, have so much fun. You've got a new RC car or a Bluetooth karaoke microphone or whatever the toy happens to be this year. And making that a special day for them without turning them into little me monsters that have no idea what it's like to enjoy giving something to somebody else. Right? Oh, I want the waterproof digital camera for me. So-and-so doesn't get it. It's mine. Right? Is that really the lesson that we teach? How do you balance that over the holidays, especially with the commercials going off 24/7 and the ads on the internet 24/7? You don't ask for that, especially in September. You were there for paper towels and trash bags and sweatpants. You were there for the necessities of life, and you turn the corner, and all of a sudden it's ding, 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 ding. And you're covered in tinsel, and you're wondering, how did this happen? How did this happen? You feel like you're being dragged toward December 25th by the throat. It's just not fair. I struggle with the cynicism about that, because I don't like that part of myself. I don't want to be like, oh, it's all big business and it's all it's the holiday, the capitalist holiday of the year. I think it's number one right in front of Halloween. I think Halloween is the number two capitalist holiday of the year, where people spend, I don't know how much in terms of money on Halloween, but Christmas. Amazon claimed last year that it shipped 1 billion products. 1 billion products were shipped. Have you seen that meme where that house has a huge cluster of boxes in front of its door, so many that you can't even get in? And the caption says, "Don't drink and prime." It's Christmas. 1 billion products just on its Prime free shipping program, Amazon. MasterCard called 2018 the best holiday season they'd had in like 6 years. And I'm sure Visa would agree, and Discover and American Express, right? Buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later. Lots and lots of interest. You will pay later. So why not get it now? Why not get the new this now? Why put it off? You deserve it. And don't get me wrong, because I love my stuff. I love my stuff, right? I'm a boy who loves toys. I love to open presents. I don't really ask for stuff for Christmas. Natalie's like, what do you want this year? I don't know, honey. I mean, let's do something for each other. No, I want to give you a gift. I want you to have something that you could open up under the tree. And I'm like, I don't know. Now, as a kid, I wanted toys. Now I'm an adult, I'll take some socks and underwear, man. Give me something practical. Doesn't have to be sexy. Just give me something. What about the gifts that are given out of obligation? And I will get to the phones and the phone numbers on the screen if you want to dial in. Sound off about your Christ-free Christmas. I knew a guy, and Christmas was a chore for this poor fella. He had a list, a long, long list of people that he had to buy for, or else, if I don't buy for little Timmy, well, he's going to be upset because little Susie got something. And if I buy for them, then I'm going to have to buy for so-and-so's kids. It became this chore that you had to finish. The joy of giving was mostly him going through stores, desperately trying to check names off the list so he was off the hook, so he didn't look like the bad guy. Is that the holiday? And then you're bouncing around to families' homes. I know how difficult that can be. Well, if you spend an hour and a half at so-and-so's house, then your mother-in-law is going to be upset. So we got to make sure we get in the car or get on the plane or do whatever. Are we going to do Christmas Eve at point A and Christmas Day at point B? Are we going to try to do the weekend after? Well, that's not fair, or that doesn't count. Which house will we have a meal at? Will we eat before and just not eat at our relatives' homes? Do we skip it all and try to just stay home and do something? Well, that'll be an insult to mom and dad and grandpa and grandma and your aunt and your uncle, and becomes this logistical nightmare. I understand why for a great many people the holidays can be a very stressful time, and it can breed in you a kind of cynicism, and you just want to just unplug. Thank you very much. Thanks anyway. We're just going to keep it simple. We're going to stay home. We're going to watch a Charlie Brown Christmas on television. We're going to have a non-traditional meal. I think we're going to do something totally non-traditional this year. Everybody else is doing turkey and stuffing and cranberry sauce. We're going to try something else. Of course, we've been doing we're on a pretty strict regimen, leaning ourselves up at the end of the year. Natalie and I are doing this program together. It is a calorie-limited diet because I found myself getting just a little fluffy. And at the age of 51, that happens really fast, and it doesn't unhappen fast at all. Like it takes so little effort to put it on. And I love sweet things. I love sugar. I love my desserts. I love sweet foods, which is a vice. It's a terrible vice. And so anyway, we totally, as of a month ago, radically changed how we do what we do, how we eat, and all that stuff. And we're both having a lot of success there. It's been a total lifestyle change, and Christmas is going to reflect that. While everybody else is throwing their face into a bowl of gravy, we're going to be doing something much more moderate. Much more moderate. Because, I'm not getting any younger, and I wasn't getting any slimmer, and it's hard enough to maintain, and I'm surrounded by all these young people. In my family, I've got, the stepkids and everybody else, and they've got the metabolism of a hummingbird. And I'm like, you just enjoy that while it lasts, damn it. I am looking forward to it, though. I am looking forward to being together with the people I care about. I'm looking forward to trying to make some memories. I'm looking forward to being able to spend the holiday really mostly on my own terms. I'm going to bounce around to family's house, but our our non-religious approach to Christmas is really a beautiful thing, right? We don't have a religious Christmas in this house. And we'll put Christmas music on, and there might be a song with religious lyrics that pops in there, but it's more of a traditional song. If "Oh Holy Night" comes on Alexa, sorry, did I just set yours off? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Cancel. Yeah, cancel. On your Echo Dot, rather, or your Google Home or whatever. It doesn't freak me out. That doesn't bother me. I don't lose my mind. If, "Oh come, Emmanuel, come," I might skip that song and wait around for Bing Crosby's White Christmas, or, "It's the most wonderful time of the year," or, one of the more traditional Silver Bells, one of those classics. But, we have a secular Christmas, right? Our tree topper is a snowman. It's not an angel. There's no Jesus. There's no religious imagery. We have these little lit deer that sit in the front lawn, these little illuminated deer. They're just deer. We put some blue lights underneath for a stream. It's kind of cute. It's a completely non-religious holiday display. We don't pray before we eat. We don't thank God for the presents. I mean, it's really about being together and giving and making memories. And, life is short. So make the most of the moments. That's what Christmas is about. That's what I'm most looking forward to. I'm curious as to how you celebrate. I'm curious as to how our listeners mark the 25th of December every single year. And so if you have like a tradition or a lack of tradition, something that is interesting to you that you want to share with the audience, now's the time. As I go to the switchboard and talk to area code 619, you're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hey, Seth, it's Richie. Called before a while ago. Thanks for taking my call again. Hello.
Nice to talk to you, my friend. Do you have a Christmas tradition or do you skip it altogether? What?
Really, just to reiterate what you said, actually, I figured I'm noticing that the older I get, and I'm not that old, I'm only 32, so I'm still a young guy, but I don't really have traditions really anymore. I just really, as the years go by, I just try to appreciate my family and my friends more. Regardless of what those days are, really, I know a lot of people like to pull out all the stops sometimes on Thanksgiving, Christmas, the one time of the year, or this kind of thing. But I'm kind of the mind of it really doesn't matter what day, right? I try to appreciate my life and the people that are in it, the people that allow me to be in their lives every day, But I think, the holidays is just kind of like the biggest reminder for me, at least, right?
Do you ever fight cynicism, though? I mean, do you ever look around at the commerciality and the religiosity of it all and just think, oh my God, if I see another Precious Moments figurine on one of these displays, I'm going to lose my mind. Do you ever get to that point?
I'll be honest with you, no, sir. No. I used to, but I think it was because back then I didn't do enough self-reflection. I like to think I've gotten a better grasp on my self-reflection. I know cynicism can be very easy. Life's hard. And if I may, I don't mean to sidetrack, but to anyone who's listening out there, wherever you are, whoever you are, if you're listening to this, you matter. Somebody loves you, love yourself. You do only have this life, and do everything you can to appreciate it, whether it's a greeting card from a friend, a text. You are important, okay? So no, sir. My cynicism, I like to proudly say, has kind of waned the older I've gotten.
Good for you.
Only because, and obviously it doesn't make me perfect. It's not that, and yes, I am an atheist, but I don't like to say as an atheist when it comes to that. As a human being, I like to say, because that's really what it is. We're all in this together. I know sometimes it's hard to think that, we're not, but, you didn't pump your own, you didn't get your own gas today, right? Somebody made your car, or somebody put the food together that you cook. We're always helping each other out, whether we realize it or not. So yeah. I look at those things, and when I juxtapose the good things in my life with the bad things in my life, I can really be happy to say that my good outweighs my bad. So no, although the holiday songs are garbage, so I will agree with you.
Yeah.
They are, oh boy, Silent Night. I wish it was silent every night. God.
Silence every night.
No, so that's just kind of my thing. And I guess I really didn't have that was just my comment. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for everything you do, sir. I hope you had a great year. I hope your 2020 and every year after that is just as fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you very much. Thank you. That's a good sentiment to have, right? Seize the day, seize the moments. I guess that sort of plays into a theme we've had recently with the Dying Out Loud show we did with Dave Warnock. He came on the broadcast and talked about how he's got kind of this limited window in which he knows he will be alive. And so carpe diem, seize the day, seize the moments, make the most, because we don't get them back. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good lesson. 702. Thanks for waiting on me. You're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Nancy, and I live in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, Mormon country. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for taking my call, Seth. I just wanted to say, as an atheist, one of my favorite traditions is actually baking cookies and then giving them to people, because I haven't had too many people turn cookies down that are homemade.
What kind of cookies? Describe. Give me a taste of the experience here.
Well, it's ones that I grew up making with my mom for years and years. And one of them, you actually have to force the dough through a cookie press. It kind of looks like a caulking gun. And so they come out in really fun little shapes, like snowflakes or Christmas cookies, or Christmas trees. And it has a little bit of cream cheese in the dough. So they just have this kind of buttery, creamy, wonderful texture. And I really missed making those when I was a kid. And then I bought myself a cookie press this year so I could actually make them. And they've actually been a lot of fun to make. And you can change the flavoring or, add chocolate or sprinkles.
So what does the cookie press do? Does it make the dough more dense?
Well, you put the dough in the cookie press, and then at the bottom of the cookie press is like a stencil that has the shape of a snowflake or a Christmas tree, and it has a lever on it, and you pull down on the lever, and then it forces the dough through the stencil at the bottom of the caulking gun.
Everybody get in the car. We're going to Nancy's house for Christmas. That just sounds freaking amazing.
Yeah, please do. I will make tons of cookies. I love baking, so...
Is it therapeutic?
And then also my husband and I...
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Start again. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say my husband and I kind of had to make our own traditions as well because he was in the military for years and years. And so a lot of times we were in a strange city and it was just the two of us. And so we would come up with a fun recipe to cook, or we might just spend the day in our jammies, or we might go for a walk in the snow, just kind of doing our own thing since, family was always like 600 miles away or more,
I love the smell of like holiday foods baking. When you walk into the house, when you've been out and you just catch that, whether it's pumpkin or any of the spices that go into some of those dishes. I'm sure your cookies are the same way. I mean, people walk in and they're like, oh my God, that smells amazing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love those warm, like homey smells. Or there's like a cinnamon cookie that I make and the cinnamon smells amazing. I think maybe that's why I do it for myself, is just that, that reward of the of the olfactory reward.
Nancy, people like you are the reason that I am on a weight loss regimen here this month. I want you to know that you are part of the reason that temptation is out there every holiday season. So, but it sounds amazing.
Well, I know I heard that bit about you and Natalie's, health regimen and eating better. And I don't know if you want to dare call it a diet, because I don't like that word. It is a 4-letter word.
It's not like we're...
I salute you guys' effort.
Tough time of year.
And I am not far behind you. I will be 50 next year, and I need to be careful about not letting myself get too flabby.
Just one of those things. It's like if God existed, it'd be one of the questions I had. Like, why is it that the older and wiser I am, the less I'm able to do about it? I don't understand, So
I know. I feel you. I can totally relate.
Well, I hope you and your husband have a wonderful holiday, and one day we will meet, and one day I'd love to try some of those cookies, okay?
Well, I would love to as well, Seth. Thank you so much. Well, happy holidays, happy, Hanukkah and Festivus and Saturnalia to you and Linus and Natalie and your whole family. And
you got it. And to you, my friend. You take care, all right, Nancy?
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
All right. Linus, speaking of Linus, is here. I want to say hi. He's in my lap. Unfortunately, the radio audience doesn't get to see Linus today. Fresh back from the groomer. He's all spiffed up. He looks a little chunky. Like, we got him back from the groomer, and I'm not sure if it's the way they cut his hair. But I'm like, he looks a little like a chunky monkey. Like, are we spoiling him because, he's a rescue? We got him on Valentine's Day, and he is just living the best life possible. We just took him to Florida. I just did 2 tour stops and a few days off in Florida. We took Linus with us, put him on the plane. He got to be under the seat with us. And actually, we snuck him onto our laps. And we went to the beach and put him we actually let him swim in the ocean. He loves the ocean. He loves to splash in the water. He loves to swim. He just took to it like a fish. And so anyway, but he's been here today, sitting here in my lap as I broadcast. And I'm just looking at him going, maybe I need to, they say that if you spoil the dog too much, it can really not be healthy for the dog. I just don't want to be that owner who's like, oh, I'm going to give my dog everything in the world. Mm-hmm. No, you won't be denied, 5 meals a day. I don't want to be that person. I need to be a responsible pet owner, because what Linus wants may not be necessarily what he needs. Area code 860. You are on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hi, is it me?
It is you. Tell me your name.
Oh, my name is Danielle.
Hi, Danielle. What's on your mind? What are you thinking today?
Seth, I can't believe I'm on with you. First of all, thank you so much. You have been integral or like a very important part when I was coming to realize that I was an atheist and coming out of a cult situation.
Yes.
So, like 2 years ago, thank you so much for all of your podcasts and all of your activism. It really helped someone like me who was a former Christian trying to come to grips with my mortality and being okay with the fact that there's nothing after life and that life now is beautiful. And then that's an okay and beautiful thing.
Does that affect the holiday season? I mean, it sounds like there's some baggage there. Does that make December difficult? Or?
Yeah. I mean, we've been out of the cult for 5 years, and I came out as an atheist last January. And my husband is still a believer. So this will be our first Christmas together, not being part of any kind of church, and just, embracing my non-belief and respecting his belief. So trying to mix that together. We have two kids, a 13-year-old and a 11-year-old. And we're trying to figure out and navigate what Christmas is going to look like for us with all of that. Like I was decorating our Christmas tree the other day, and I just actually threw away. I found a glass blown decoration of Joseph, Mary, and Jesus, and I made a conscious decision to throw that decoration away because I didn't want it to impact my kids, because I don't want them to believe things that aren't true. But I didn't talk with my husband about that yet, and so we're kind of wading through all of that. We have a lot of mutual respect for each other, but we're also trying to figure out how this Christmas season is going to look for our family and for ourselves.
It's a problem that I hear about quite a bit, when a sea change happens in somebody's life and the other one may not be there or quite there, or they're on a different path. And, you're like with the kids in play, it's a whole new dynamic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, my husband is a fan of yours, though, which is fantastic. He's a Christian, but he really appreciates your perspective and yours and Natalie's relationship and respects it. And I think that's helped kind of bridge our communication with each other, that he's seeing that not all atheists are just mean and angry and want to take away everybody's beliefs. It's just simply a lack of belief. But that the part of throwing away that ornament the other day was really important to me, because that has been an area for me and my husband with the kids. I want them to believe whatever is true and whatever can be proven to be true. And he mentioned a while ago, well, they just follow you, whatever you do. And I don't want them to follow whatever I do. I want them to follow what their critical thinking leads them to do. And so that's kind of been a struggle. I don't want them to just follow traditions. I don't want them to just follow whatever they've been taught growing up. I want them to use critical thinking, and whatever there's evidence for, I want them to follow that.
And that's a gift that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. So what does your holiday look like then? I mean, what do your ornaments look like? What'd you keep? What did you decide not to throw away?
I know, right? See, well, that was the first one I did decide to throw away. That was kind of a liberating moment to throw away the Mary and Joseph and Jesus. I was like, bye, you're not real. It's fine. Bye. See you later.
Yeah. It
was liberating because it took away a lot of the guilt and the shame and the entrapment that comes with religion. So that was great to throw that away. But we have Seth, don't get me wrong, we have a 12-foot Christmas tree in our house. So it's
awesome.
Huge. We have it's a huge tree, and we've got loads of ornaments. We do a lot of cookies and Christmas cards and baking, and I'm fine with happy holidays, and whatever anybody celebrates around the holidays is great. So I think what we're going to try to strive to do this season is just be with family and friends and loving and accepting of the people around us. And we'll see where that takes us into the new year.
That's a wonderful sentiment. And I know it can't have been easy, the extraction from a cult and, deprogramming is the word that comes to mind. I'm guessing it's accurate, right? Deprogramming?
Yes, it absolutely. I mean, I've read a lot of Steve Hassan's work, the bite model, and working through a lot of that. I found the bite model a couple of years ago, and it was very helpful in understanding that we came out of a cult situation. And we're still peeling back the layers. 5 years later, we're still peeling back the layers and understanding how destructive and hard that was. I mean, our son, we weren't able to name our firstborn, like the prophet named our child.
Wow.
So it's been a whole thing. I mean, the good news is we are very patient and generous with our love with our kids, and it's okay. We've said to our kids, it's okay if you don't like your name, you can change it one day. We're going to be patient and accepting and loving no matter what happens. It was just crazy, but we're enjoying the freedom that comes with a non-religious Christmas. It's been really, really wonderful.
Well,
sorry, my daughter's coughing in the background.
I got
she has pneumonia right now. She's all right.
I'm glad I don't care at all. It's no problem whatsoever. Go take care of your family. I'm so glad to hear from you. I appreciate so much the words of encouragement. And, I love the fact that you get to spend the holiday on your terms, you, your husband, and your kids. And you can make it yours, whatever that means. So a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours, okay?
Thank you, Seth. You too. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Man, bye. I would think you'd have butterflies in your stomach. I mean, it sounds melodramatic, but those of us who are used to the icons, the imagery around the Christ figure, I should have asked, or were there butterflies in her stomach when she threw that away? Did she have that pang of, oh, wow, I mean, I'm throwing away an effigy of the Christ child. And the symbolism of me doing that is me deciding that I don't want or need this for my life. I want to do Christmas, not Mythmas, right? I wonder if she had that moment where she was thinking about what the implications were, and it gave her a little bit of a pit in her stomach. I think it would me, even though, like, logically I would know, come on, it's just a nativity scene. It's just a thing. It's an object. It's a piece of something. And I would know the importance of being able to reject it. I think it'd be a little weird. It'd be just a little weird. I'm amazed when she talked about the 12-foot tree. I'm amazed at how many people who talk about the war on Christmas have little or no idea how pagan their holiday actually is. Now, you are well ahead of me on this score. Every freaking year, we see people talking about, putting Christ back in Christmas, and we respond with, let's put the Saturn back in Saturnalia, or something like that. The evergreens being that pagan symbol, the offering out to the gods in anticipation of longer days, the return of the sun, the upcoming harvest, the Yule logs, right? That was a Norse tradition, if I recall, where they would burn the Yule logs and have a big festival and essentially party until the log burned out. I believe the giving of gifts, the gift exchange tradition, has its roots in paganism, revolving around Saturnalia, the festival of Saturnalia. I think the Druids thought that mistletoe was a magical plant with magical powers. So I think mistletoe links back to Druid origins. What other Christmas traditions come to mind? I mean, Santa Claus, right? Santa Claus is a derivative of Odin, the Norse god Odin. So many Christmas traditions that Christians, people who are Bible literalists, who hold to an actual baby Jesus, how many thousand years ago? 2,000 years ago. And they insist that, it's a Christian holiday, and yet they've surrounded themselves with icons that represent non-Christian religions or beliefs, traditions, or practices. And I find it fascinating. I find it just fascinating. There is an article, let me share this with you quickly. This is from a couple of years ago from the Pew Research Center. The article is titled, Americans Say Religious Aspects of Christmas Are Declining in Public Life. Shrinking majority believe biblical account of birth of Jesus depicts actual events. I'll read just a portion from the Pew Research article. As long-simmering debates continue over how American society should commemorate the Christmas holiday, a new Pew Research Center survey finds that most U.S. adults believe the religious aspects of Christmas are emphasized less now than in the past, even as relatively few Americans are bothered by this trend. In addition, a declining majority says religious displays, such as nativity scenes, should be allowed on government property. That's a declining majority says this. And compared with 5 years ago, a growing share of Americans say it does not matter to them how they are greeted in stores and businesses during the holiday season, whether with Merry Christmas or a less religious greeting like Happy Holidays. Not only are some of the more religious aspects of Christmas less prominent in the public sphere, but there are signs that they are on the wane in Americans' private lives and personal beliefs as well. For instance, there's been a noticeable decline in the percentage of U.S. adults who say they believe that biblical elements of the Christmas story, that Jesus was born to a virgin, for example, reflect historical events that actually occurred. And although most Americans still say they mark the occasion as a religious holiday, there's been a slight drop in recent years in the share who say they do this. I found that fascinating and very telling. And as I said in my Christmas Behind the Curtain video, which released, I think it's been 5 years now, the best parts of Christmas have nothing to do with Christ. They have nothing to do with Christ. The traditions and the practices and the music and the good stuff, I mean, they have nothing to do with Christ. Don't tell me that even most practicing fundamentalist Christians think that the best part of the holiday is the time they go to the Christmas pageant service instead of being with their loved ones, enjoying good food, opening gifts, enjoying the moments together. Right? Going out and looking at the Christmas lights, doing those types of things. Christmas traditions that have nothing to do with Christ, even in fundamentally Christian homes. 606, thanks for waiting on me. You're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. What's your name?
Hi, Seth. This is Savannah from Kentucky again.
Savannah, I remember you from, I guess it's been a couple of months now. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm significantly more pregnant, but other than that, I'm great.
I guess congratulations are in order then. So, little Christmas gift.
Well, she'll be here in April.
April. All right. Well, congratulations. And let's talk about the holiday, which is sort of the theme of the show. I'm fighting cynicism in my own life and a little bit of the holiday blues just because it's been kind of blah this year. I don't know. What's your take on Christmas? What do you think, Savannah?
I have a lot of mixed emotions this year. When I was younger, my dad made Christmas way worth celebrating because he got really into the Christmas spirit. He always made, the whole Santa thing when we were younger. It was a big deal. Even from the time that I was 16, he was still like, you still believe in Santa Claus, right? But he also brought it into a religious, I guess, region because he would sit down every single Christmas and have one of us from all the family that came over to the house read the actual Christmas story from the Bible.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not something I plan to implement with my daughter because obviously I'm an atheist, but I still do plan to do the presents and the Santa and things like that. But at the same time, it's really difficult. I talked about this before when I called in the last time. It's really difficult to celebrate Christmas in a way that I guess me and my husband want to celebrate it because we have such religious family and where we live. I mean, honestly, there's a nativity scene set up right now downtown outside of the courthouse.
On taxpayer-funded property, huh?
Yes. So it's really difficult, and not to mention, my grandmother is a very, very she's very religious, and I have to watch kind of what I post on Facebook, not because I'm afraid she'll say something to me, but because she is, I guess it's a thing, I kind of feel bad for it, because I don't want her to feel that despair that, oh, my granddaughter's going to hell in the last few years of her life. You know, I kind of don't want to put that stress on her, so I kind of watch what I post. I only post a few things here and there on Facebook. And doing Christmas with her every year is difficult for me, because she is still very Christian in her Christmas.
So what, baby Jesus
and I'm not
and
really sure how to approach
the
that.
angel and the wise men and the animals and all that, huh?
Oh, yeah. She's, I mean, full on, like, old regular Baptist Christian.
Well, I understand, the desire not to hurt her feelings and kind of hold off on that. In fact, I think that's a worthy decision, right? I mean, there's a very, very small chance you would ever change her mind at this stage in life anyway. So,
right.
Take your time.
Well, and that's not really what I'm looking to do either. And I'm a little hesitant too, because I am going to have this baby in April, and me and my husband have spoke about it several times that, we want our child, of course we're going to raise her in an atheist household, because me and my husband are both atheists, but we don't want people coming up to our kid and trying to indoctrinate her from a young age, because, I mean, you spoke about it on your show before. That's when they get you.
Yeah.
That's the best time, and they know it.
Get them while they're young, right?
And they make you believe all of these things, and they instill that fear in you from such a young age. And so, I mean, my husband has said several times, the first person to tell my child about Jesus is getting smacked. I mean, and I'm just like, well, at the same time, I also want her to have her own choice. I also don't want to be that person in her life that's like, you're not allowed to believe that.
I think it's perfectly fine to tell the story, to talk about what the Bible says in regard to that particular nativity myth, and put it in the context of, this is what Christians believe. We don't believe that, and it'll be up to you. But I mean, they're going to find out one way or the other. It'd be nice if you guys could at least guarantee that somebody's not trying to sell it as truth with a capital T, right? You get to do it on your terms.
Right. See, and that's why Christmas, for me, Christmas is more of a time to spend with family. And I personally believe, like, instead of going out and buying gifts, I always try to home make my gifts, or make sentimental gifts, like with pictures, or something you can write, or like poems even. I mean, I know that probably sounds dumb to some people.
No, it doesn't sound dumb. I mean, it sounds fantastic. It's heartfelt.
Some people, well, I'm not very close with some of my family. I live at least 2 hours away from most of my family that still talk to me anyway. I'll put it that way.
I like the idea. It's personal. It's something unique from you. It has your signature all over it. It's not just some gift card kind of thing. I like the idea.
Right. And, well, I had a conversation with a friend the other day about how Christmas for so many years has been exactly the same every single year. People rush to the store and spend their last dime to buy expensive, awesome gifts for everybody, and they don't really put much thought into it. They're just like, well, I know this is what they like, so this is what I'm going to get. And then most of the stuff ends up being thrown away in a couple of years, and it even the waste that Christmas produces. I mean, there is so much that goes into landfills from Christmas.
I buy that.
And I know that's, that's what's frustrating for me. And that's why most of the time I choose to make homemade gifts, things that can be reused, or things that people actually need.
It's a great idea for someone else. Maybe someone else can glean some wisdom from that, and maybe start doing that in their own. Might save a few bucks in the process. So.
Yeah. And, I know that's when people spend most of their money is on Christmas. I mean, it's a national holiday at this point. Everybody celebrates Christmas in some way.
Not everybody. I got a few in the
But-
chat room who are like, screw it. But I take your larger point. Well, I think you're awesome. And I hope the holidays with your family are fantastic. I'm glad you get a chance to sort of, tell the Jesus story on your own terms. And I hope you and yours have a wonderful holiday, okay?
Thank you, Seth. It was nice talking to you.
I'll see you later. Yeah, I think, go ahead and tell the Jesus. I mean, here's what Christianity says about Jesus and the manger. And, of course, you then have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to contrast the Gospels, to go back and forth between Matthew and Luke and talk about, well, actually, Matthew says this, and then Luke contradicts it and says something else. And then Luke says this, and Matthew contradicts it here. So these are just stories. But the Bible says this. Did they go to Bethlehem? Did they go to Nazareth? Were they born here? Did he have to walk for the census? Was it in a manger? Was it in a stable? Where did they go after the birth of Jesus? Did they go to Capernaum? What's all of those types of things. You can get into, you can actually make it a very teachable moment in a way that most Bible-believing Christians might not appreciate, but would be a more honest approach to the Jesus story. And you can say, here's what they as a religion believe, and here's what their holy book says. And you have a chance to sort of put that in context, and context is everything. If you get somebody else who just carts them off to some, Easter pageant, some child-friendly Easter pageant, they might be easy meat unless you've sort of child-proofed them with critical thinking skills. The war on Christmas thing always makes me laugh. The Onion had a great article. Let me pull this up here. This was published, back in 2015, but I'll show it to you here. For the radio audience, the headline says, "Nation's oppressed Christians huddle underground to light single shriveled Christmas shrub." And it shows this pathetic-looking family around this really pathetic-looking tree with drooping branches and drooping ornaments. And the article from The Onion, which is satire, says, "Undisclosed location. Persecuted and driven into hiding because of their beliefs, the nation's oppressed Christians reportedly huddled in a secret underground bunker late Wednesday night to decorate and light a single withered Christmas shrub. At great personal risk, the Christians were said to have smuggled in a few strings of colored mini lights, tinsel, popcorn garlands, Hallmark keepsake ornaments, and other contraband in order to trim the shrub inside the subterranean chamber, the last place in America where they were safe to celebrate Christmas. Quote, We've come together today to observe a Christian holiday that has been all but stamped out on the surface," said a man who wished to be identified only as Greg, after hanging a figurine of Mickey Mouse dressed as Santa Claus from one of the shrub's boughs. "I can't say this humble bush is much of a Christmas tree, but it was the largest we could manage to get here given the circumstances. Let us remember, though, that to merely celebrate Christmas, to exchange gifts and eat our candy canes in peace, without the government or the powerful secular elite coming in and destroying it, is a blessing in itself. They want to end to our holiest day," he added, as several others erected 3-foot-tall light-up Grinch and plastic signpost bearing the words, "Santa, stop here," behind him. "It's up to us to keep Christmas alive." Sounds like some of the crazy shit we might see on Fox News. 206, thanks for waiting. You're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hello?
Hi, what's your
Beth?
name?
Hi, Charity. My name's Charity.
Nice to talk to you, Charity. We're talking about a Christ-free Christmas. What do you think?
Well, I've had a pretty weird background, I guess, for Christmas. I always loved Christmas, even, back in the day, of course, when I was Christian. But I've spent a lot of Christmases overseas, actually in Japan. I spent 7 years, and they celebrate Christmas very differently. And so it actually helped my transition from being super Christian to being an atheist.
What helped your transition specifically?
Well, I guess because I was away from my family, and they definitely do a lot of religious tradition over there. They would even sing, Happy Birthday to Jesus and stuff like that. It was embarrassing. They still do it.
Hey, there's some songs on the radio that say that very same thing. I think there's actually a contemporary Christian song called Happy Birthday Jesus out there. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Yep. Go ahead. We're talking about the holiday.
No, absolutely. I've heard them all. But yeah, I guess when I was over there, it's more about couples in Japan. So I was over there with my husband, like I said, for a while. And so it became more of like date nights instead of like, because they're not religious over there at all. And it really helped me. But now that I'm back here in the States, and right now I live in Florida, but my family's up in Georgia. But I'm surrounded by the religious aspect of it, of course. And I don't know, I still love Christmas. I have traditions. Of course, I live close to Disney World, and it's fun to go there. It's not a religious thing there, at least. But, yeah, I don't know. I think the only thing I do now at this point that I have to do are like watch a couple of movies that have to be watched for Christmas.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking about some of those way too saccharine holiday films from the Hallmark Channel kind of thing, or is this something else?
No. If I do watch those, it's only ironically. But if I have to watch like Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Do you know that one?
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Never heard of it. What's that?
No. Oh my God, it's so good. It is a Jim Henson movie that came out in the late 70s, I believe, and it's got some of the best music. It's about Emmett Otter and his mom, and it's kind of like I'm trying to think of there's a parable, not a parable, but like oh my gosh, you're just gonna have to look it up.
I'm gonna look it up as soon as this call is over with. I'm looking up Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. You have cultured me. You've given me a window into a brand new world. So I owe you. That's my Christmas gift from you.
You're very welcome.
Well, I hope it's a great holiday for you. I appreciate you so much, and all my best down there in Georgia, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, see you later.
All right.
Oh, I got me a little co-host who's wanting to join me here. Hang on. Linus looks like you look like a little black elf, a little black-furred elf there, don't you? What do you think? Say hi to everybody. You a good boy? You a good boy? Are you my fella? Are you my fella? Like, this is my Christmas elf right here. He's my little guy. Okay. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Hold on just a second. Let me pull this up.
Get a pretty girl dancing to jug band music and the mess of mom's barbecue. This is my spirit, I swear that it never fails. And the sauce mama makes just stays here forever if you dare to get it under your nails.
Okay. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. I've been introduced to this. Never heard of it before in my life. That's a new one. Now look him up on YouTube. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. 806. You are on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
It's Shy from Texas.
What's up, Shy? What's going on?
Oh, I was just thinking about all the talk about Christmas stuff. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, Christmas was huge with my family. My grandmother loved it because it was an excuse to get everyone together to do stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it was mostly just about being together.
Yeah. I didn't even learn about any religious aspects of it until I was 10.
And did you ever believe it as fact, little baby Jesus in the manger?
I just thought it was another story because I had been raised with being allowed to read from any mythology. And I thought, it's just another story, like with Yule or with, anything else.
How do you celebrate these days?
I I celebrate the solstice with my husband now, and we celebrate Christmas with his family.
You bring evergreen boughs for the gods, kind of thing, and dance around the Yule log, or what do you mean winter solstice? How do you celebrate the solstice?
It's a day I get off, and we we make poinsettias and watch Tim Burton movies.
I like that. What's your favorite Tim Burton movie? Give me a good example of what we're talking about.
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, really? I keep seeing the rumor.
It's a horror movie.
I keep seeing the rumor out there that they're going to remake Beetlejuice, but I can't find out if that's legit or not. And if it's legit, I'm not sure how I feel about it, right? Because they're remaking all of the classics from my youth. So, but there's a Tim Burton classic. Never mind. I'm sorry. I digress. Any other thoughts about the holiday?
I use it when most of the time for the stuff we do with my husband's family. It's for the kids. It's to give them presents, to let them play with each other and talk about winter stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband and I will get them stockings and stuff them with random candy, trinkets, and last year it was blood oranges. This year it's going to be pomegranate.
Blood oranges and pomegranate for Christmas. I like it. Well, Merry Christmas to you, and I hope the holiday's fantastic, okay?
All right. Have a good one.
See you later. Yes, I use the word Christmas. It makes some atheists crazy that I do that. It's what the holiday's called. Merry Christmas. It's the casual term that describes the holiday. Doesn't mean I believe in Christ. I have to walk around and say, Happy Festivus necessarily, although you can. Or Happy Holidays, that's perfectly fine. Or you can get into Hanukkah or whatever. It's Christmas. That's what we call it. It's Christmas. 541. Thanks for waiting on me. You're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hi, Seth. It's Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. What's going on?
A caller earlier said she was looking for other ways to celebrate the Christmas regarding gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And after I ran back into this amazing man that I'm lucky to call my boyfriend, when our family started getting together, we started doing white elephants between the families.
You started doing what?
The white elephant gift exchange.
A gift exchange.
Uh-huh. Each person brings one present. They don't mark it. It's wrapped. It could be homemade stuff. It could be store-bought. I think last year I went and found a sort of cheesy Christmas movie. And this year I might bring a hand-woven scarf or something.
So you
I
wrap.
have 14 days to decide.
For those who aren't familiar with this, it's often known as Dirty Santa. And you put the unmarked boxes, and then what? Everybody goes and picks a box? Is that what you guys do?
Yeah, we drew numbers, and one goes first, and then two goes next, and stealing and all that stuff.
Is there a dollar limit that you guys set? Normally, somebody puts a figure on there of $20 or $30 or something.
I think we did $25, and if it was homemade, it's a homemade gift. It's given a little leeway because materials can cost quite a bit.
It's a clever idea, though. It adds a fun factor to the gift exchange. It takes some of the, oh, look, another gift card, thank you thing out of it and makes it more of a discovery, right? And it's a game because you can steal somebody else's gifts, and gifts can be stolen up to 3 times. And it's a great party game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Last year, my boyfriend ended up getting an off-brand Leatherman.
I'm sorry, I missed it. He gave you a what?
My boyfriend got a off-brand Leatherman from the White Elephant last year.
Leatherman,
it wasn't like one of those multi-tools.
Yeah, one of those things.
You can put in a pocket. Yeah.
Well, that's a good gift.
Mm-hmm. And I got a homemade pillowcase.
That's a good gift. Dirty Santa. That's a good idea. And anybody can Google that if you want to get like serious. But honestly, my family does it. My family's so big. We used to draw names, but it was really impersonal. Oh look, I drew so and so, and instead we made they refuse to call it Dirty Santa. They call it Classy Santa because they're very fundamentalist. And but it's the same deal. You buy a gift, you wrap it up anonymously, no tags, you put it in a big pile, everybody draws a number, and then you go grab a box, and whatever's in that box is your gift, unless it is stolen from you. Then you go pick again, and gifts can be stolen up to 3 times before they're frozen. And people are laughing and carrying on, and it added a real party fun factor to gift exchange over the holidays. That's a great idea. Thanks for sharing it on the radio. Much appreciated.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right. Have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah, you too.
See you later.
Bye.
Whoops. Did I lose you? Or I accidentally hit drop before I meant to. Sorry about that. Let's do just a couple of more real fast as we're talking about a Christ-free Christmas, right? You don't need Jesus to enjoy Christmas. I know this is scandalous talk in certain circles, but it's absolutely true. Area code 504. You're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hello, Seth. My name is Wade.
Wade,
and
thanks
I'm
for
in
calling.
the New Orleans area.
Wonderful, Wade. What's going on? What are your thoughts on the holiday, my friend?
I have a bunch of Christmas stories, but I guess the ones that I should share, because it's a Christ-free Christmas, is about the time I got to be Krampus in Austria and put on the Krampus costume and march through the village with the cowbells dressed as the big hairy monster Krampus.
That's amazing.
And it's the, it's the element of Christmas, and the St. Nicholas, is the good, you do it on St. Nicholas Day. And, St. Nicholas, parades through the village, accompanied by angels, the young girls that are up for communion or whatever. And then the younger men of the town, are all in the big hairy suits with the terrifying masks. And it's an incredible pagan experience.
What a rush that must have been. I mean, I've seen video of the parades. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Now mine wasn't in the city. It's the most of the the center of the festival is in southern Austria in the town of Graz, Grez, which is where I was studying on a Fulbright scholarship, and made friends, and in a little up in the Alps, a little mountain village called Fonsdorf. And my buddies, invited me, and I was initiated into the Krampus Club. I won't trouble you with what that is in German. It's a big, long word. But I got to finish carving my demon mask and painting it. And, they lent me, the club had some extra giant, gorilla suits, so to speak. And the thing that's different about what you would see in, like the videos, is that, it's a village, and there's snow all around, and it's quiet. But what you hear is the Krampus has bells, usually cowbells, or some kind of, noise-making device, traditional, and you dance as you march. And, there's a rhythm, chinga, 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 chinga. And it really is, it's immersive from my point of view. And anyway, the whole point of Krampus, that is, I think, Christ-free, is what is Krampus doing there? And do you know about the mythology of Krampus?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got a chapter about it in my book, Sacred Cows. It's really a dark shade to the Santa story, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, I mean, the whole point is, you're there to pick up the bad children, throw them in your barrel, and then carry them back to your secret cave high in the mountains, for unspeakable punishments. So what you do is, because the whole town's out there, is the little kids. You chase the little kids. And they squeal and they run and you chase them all around. And, it's kind of funny. The kids never get caught. They just barely escape.
Yeah.
And then they go off and they laugh and giggle and say, let's do it again.
That's classic.
But what's really going on is that, because it's a bunch of young guys, is that the other bad girls, they're a bit older. And, let's just say they get caught.
Now you're creeping me out.
And,
now you're creeping me out.
They get caught, and they're kind of waiting, and you get lots of nice kisses, and they have beautiful, they're all nice and warm, but somehow they work it so that there's some cleavage, and you get really nice hugs.
How do we get to cleavage from the Krampus? Right, the Krampus is about the children and going after the naughty kids on Santa's other list.
I'm talking about the real Krampus as it is practiced in those areas.
All right, I get it.
You see, it's about, it's the whole family.
So they don't quite get to the children conveniently, but if there are attractive women bearing skin, they will get captured.
Well, it's not even the bare skin. It's just like they kind of invite you over. And you get nice little hugs and kisses and a drink, because that's also a big part of it. You got to keep warm.
They love the bad
nice
boys. They if they're calling you over, they see the devil and they see the horns and they're like, hey.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And so anyway, it's a big whole long. After you go through town, they go visiting. Stay-at-home people, older people, shut-ins, and the parade comes to them, kind of like they do in New Orleans at Mardi Gras. That's what the marching clubs are.
So they turn it into kind of a benefit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that the whole way at each of your stops, there are little rituals that you do, and they give you, schnapps and various restorative substances to drink, and there's always lots of food, and they feed you along the way. And following behind the procession is a wagon, horse-drawn wagon. But if you pass out or you can't do it anymore, you get tossed in the wagon, and go down with it, because it's very strenuous.
All right, so if you're exhausted or wasted, they throw you in the wagon and they haul you back.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll mention.
Then,
all right, quickly. I'm sorry. And then what?
But no, I was just going to say to wrap up. Pretty much nothing happens at the end of it because you're just bone tired and you're exhausted. But it was let's just say, it's not really an out-of-body experience, but it felt like I wasn't part at that time in the 20th century.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sounds
more like an out-of-species experience, but that's, I would
There
definitely...
you go. That's it. That's a good way to put it.
I would love to dress up as the Krampus. If you haven't seen the Krampus parades, just go to YouTube, Krampus, Krampus parades. They are the coolest things ever. And they're a shade to the Christmas holiday that Americans have only recently become aware of. but have been popular in Europe for a long, long time. That's a wonderful thing, man.
Oh, God, yes.
Thanks so much for
Yes,
sharing it on the
and
show.
It was a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience.
Well, thanks for sharing it.
So
And
anyway,
have
I'm
a happy
gonna-
holiday, okay?
I certainly will. Thank you, Seth.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Those costumes of the Krampus are really good, and they're really creepy. And it's dark, the Krampus legend, because some of the variations of the legend have, if you're a bad kid, Krampus drags you to hell. Like, you don't just go back. Either takes you back to his lair and he eats you alive, right? You get eaten by the Krampus, or he actually drags your ass back to Hades, down to Hades, where the devil is waiting, and you begin your eternity in hell. And so it's a dark little story that's attached to the Christmas holiday, and I just love it. It's a hell of a lot better than the baby Jesus story, that's for sure. Let's see. 860. You're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hey, yeah, my name is Lionel.
Lionel, thanks for waiting on me. Long line on the switchboard. Thanks for being a part of the show. What's up?
Hey, so I just wanted to say that you talked to my wife earlier, Danielle.
Oh, cool. Wonderful. Well, it's nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
And I just want to say she's over the moon for talking to you, and I'm so glad that she was able to. And also, I just want to thank you for, being there for her when we were going through that hard times with the cult.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure.
Or when we left the cult, I should say.
I want this show to matter. So, it's a huge compliment to me when she says that it helped her and helped you guys. That's major. So thank you.
Oh yeah, because the funny thing is, I know she said on there. She showed me your stuff, and I've watched some of your shows. Or when we've gone down to Florida, we've played it in the car and stuff. And I can say that it was a pleasure listening to you and your point of view on things, and your. I agree with like 99% of what you have to say. I still am a believer to a degree, but we've been burned so many times and so bad by believers that it does make you wonder that most. I have to say when someone tells me they're a Christian now, I get very cautious around them.
Well, I think as long as your journey is your own and it's not being rammed down your throat and you're not having to carry that burden of guilt and shame, and I think an honest life is just what we want. And
yes.
So I mean, I
will take someone who's honest over someone who pretends to follow something or they lie about it just to cover their own butt. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they look good, because most Christians are out there just want to look good. But I'll take someone who's honest and admits their faults over anyone else like that, or any believer, to be honest with you.
That's cool.
But I don't want to keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
Not at all. No, well, there's a little bit of lag between my microphone and the callers, and so occasionally that's just inadvertent. It just happens. But no, thanks for the kind words. It's an honor to be able to meet you and talk to you in person. I hope the holidays are fantastic for you and the kids, and you guys keep kicking, and here's to an honest life in 2020, okay?
Oh, yeah. And there's one more thing I want to say. I didn't even know about that ornament.
Now you do, my friend. Now you do.
I know. I said, you got one of those? And she's like, yeah, a couple of years ago I bought it. I said, I never remember seeing it. I don't care.
So I was expecting a dramatic outcome. Like, how could she? This was precious.
I know. No, I was like, to be honest, our tree is filled with like Mickey ornaments, mostly.
Hey,
Mickey.
Well, it's your tree. You decorate it any way you want. And a Merry Christmas to both of you, okay?
All right. Take care.
All right. Thanks again. Take care. Here's one that I hadn't heard of till I met Natalie. The tradition of the Christmas pickle ornament. You guys heard about this? I didn't know what she was talking about, but it was a big thing. The Christmas pickle. It's a pickle ornament, and every year you put it in the tree, deep in the tree somewhere where you can't see it easily from the outside. And whoever finds the Christmas pickle first gets like some kind of prize, or I don't know, something extra in their stocking or whatever. The Christmas pickle. Google it. Hang on. Let me see if Google actually knows what I'm talking about. And I hope it's not like nothing naughty shows up. Christmas pickle. Christmas pickle. Oh, there's a poem? Hold, please. The Christmas pickle poem. To start a tradition that surely will last, here's a short story about the pickle of glass. The night before Christmas, it's hung on the tree. While everyone's sleeping, it's done secretly. And on Christmas morning, when you arise, the first one to find it will get a surprise. A family tradition for all to share. You'll look for the pickle year after year. The Christmas pickle. You don't have one on your tree. Now you got options. Let's do one more call before we call it a day. 316. You are on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hi, it's Brooklyn.
Hi, Brooklyn. Thanks for calling. Happy holidays.
Hi. Yeah, I'm actually in Atlanta, but I used to live in Wichita, Kansas, and I'm from Duncan, Oklahoma. And I think you live in Oklahoma, right?
I do, and I've been through, actually by Duncan on my way to Texas many, many times. So awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year for Christmas, we're doing something a little different. I'm used to going back home to Wichita for Christmas. And to put it blatantly, it usually sucks. I usually feel obligated to go to church with my family. They're still I guess they switched out of Church of Christ. But it's always something. It's always kind of eerie going to the Sunday services where, like, the little kids are doing their, like, their performances of the whatever the thing is, and it's just usually weird, and usually my partner and I have to sleep in separate rooms, even though he's 35 and I'm 26. But this year we are going to stay back home in Atlanta and just kind of do a more winter solstice thing, and we're both like agnostic, atheistic folk, but we kind of like the witchy vibe and aesthetic, so we decorated our Yule tree while watching Sabrina.
I love
so yeah, it beats going back home and feeling like I'm 16 and at church camp again.
So how do you feel about not going? Or is it like a relief? Like, oh, phew, you know?
Yeah, it is a relief. I always, I'm not Catholic, but I feel like I still feel that Christian guilt of not going home. And I brought it up to my dad that I thought it was very weird that we still are expected to sleep in different rooms when they all know we live together, and we have for like 4 years. So I'm torn. It's hard because I have little brothers, and sometimes I feel like I'm letting them down, so to speak, and I think that kind of gets held over my head a little bit. But I know that they all are doing the whole "we're praying for you" thing. I'm sure they think that we're going to hell in a handbasket, which is fine. I'm cool with that.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
It kind of sucks, actually. I mean, it affects the relationship you have with your family. It lowers the temperature, certainly. I mean, it's not quite as warm as you'd like it to be over the holidays. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry to hear it. It's something I know about, when they give you that look, one day we hope you'll once again find our Jesus, right?
Oh yeah. That's I know I'm the center of all the prayers, but I think they've known I've been this way for since I moved to Atlanta 6 years ago. So it used to hurt a lot more. And actually, I've been listening to your show for 6 years now, and that's part of what helped me kind of open up my eyes a little bit more. I'd always try to ask questions, and I think I asked too many questions because I'd kind of get in trouble sometimes. So I'm used to it now.
Hey, you know what? You keep asking the questions, and I'm excited for you and your family. I think a witchy Christmas is awesome. So crank up some Sabrina, and you enjoy the holiday the way you want. I'm excited for you guys. I think it's going to be a good one.
Thank you. I hope you all have a happy holiday season.
You got it. You take care of yourself.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
I have one caller I see who has been on the line for almost a half hour. I'm going to make sure I get to that. 618. You are on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Whoops. Are you there? 618. Hi, you're on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Who's this?
Hi, Seth. This is Neil.
Neil, thanks for waiting on me. I'll make you the last caller of the broadcast. We're talking about a Christ-free Christmas. What do you think?
Well, funny enough, I think it's awesome that you want to basically work in people who still want to enjoy Christmas without having the whole religious aspect of it. But I also want to share another side of it for people who just don't celebrate any holiday this time of year at all.
Yeah, hit me. Talk to me.
Like myself personally, I was raised Catholic, but I got burnt out on Christmas really quick because my loving, sweet, adorable mother, who I love to death now, back when I was a kid, she used to always insist on getting a live Christmas tree every year, knowing full well I was allergic to them. So I started associating Christmas with being sick really quick.
Oh, my God. Why would she do that to you?
I don't know. Maybe she thought I was faking it to get attention or something. It's beyond me.
Wow, that's crazy. So you just say, screw it. I don't need any part of it. I'm done. No Christmas for me.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, if I get invited to somebody else's things, sure, I'll tag along and just have fun with my friends and whatnot. But as far as an actual holiday, I honestly couldn't care less.
Do you have a holiday? I mean, what is the holiday for you? Do you like any of them?
Honestly, Halloween's my favorite, but that's partly because I'm primarily pagan.
Hey, I like you already. You and I are both Halloween people. You know, I love the Halloween holiday. All bets are off. You can get in touch with your dark side on the Halloween holiday.
Yeah. Well, plus, I know this is going way off topic because we're talking about Christmas and not Halloween, but some friends and I, who were also pagan, actually for several years did a traditional Samhain feast, which is where you just get a bunch of people together for a nice big dinner, and you have one extra place setting at the table with an empty chair to honor friends and family who passed on into the next world.
That's fantastic. You really are a fan of the pagan traditions.
Let's see, I'm 46 now. I officially converted to paganism around 20-ish, so.
I like it. I'd like to see the Christmas cards for that celebration. You know, the Samhain celebration. I'd like to think those would be great Christmas cards. Yeah. We should have those made as well.
Well, Samhain is actually associated with Halloween. It's spelled Samhain,
you're absolutely right.
But it's pronounced Samhain.
Sorry, I'm doing a Christmas show and I juxtapose my holidays in my skull, but you're absolutely right. We're talking about Samhain.
Oh, that's okay.
I love...
for this time... Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. There's that lag again. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to say that for this time of the year, it's basically the winter solstice, which really in pagan communities is a minor holiday, not near all the hoopla that Christmas has been made into.
Well, how are we supposed to get warmer temperatures and a bountiful harvest if you're not going to honor Saturn? I don't understand. You know, you need to... Come on. If you're doing the pagan thing, let's party hardy.
Well, it's still an observation. It's just more of a personal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
You can get a small group together or what have you, but it's not the big overblown pull in cousins from halfway across the country thing.
Yeah.
That Christmas has turned into.
Well, I can understand why you would want to celebrate it differently, and I hope it's a good holiday for you regardless, no matter what that means, and a happy New Year in advance. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much, partner. Same to you.
All right.
But I also want to say, even though I am technically a theist because I believe in gods, a lot of my own paganism follows a lot of humanist values, and there's a lot of secular thought in it. So I love you guys. You, Aaron, and Matt Dillahunty, I just love to death.
Thank you very much for that. Well, you put a word in for us with the gods next time you talk to them, and have a wonderful new year, okay?
Thank you very much, partner. You do too.
See you later. Speaking of Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Raw and myself, we are going to be doing a reunion of the Unholy Trinity Tour. That's coming up February the 15th in my hometown of Tulsa at OSU Tulsa, Oklahoma State University Tulsa Auditorium. And the tickets are on sale for that. And I just saw somebody's coming from Ontario just to be a part of that, to be in the audience. Somebody else I think is coming from Wisconsin. Let me make sure I get the website right for you. Yeah, it's the Atheist Community of Tulsa website, actok.org. For details and tickets, act.org, the Unholy Trinity, Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Raw, and myself, we're going to reunite for the Unholy Trinity one more time, one time only, February 15th in Tulsa, and you are invited, actok.org. Thanks for talking to me. I feel a little less blue about the holidays and a little more ready for the holidays, and I hope you are as well. And I will see you back here next time. Don't forget, we're going to wrap up the month of December as well with our annual tradition, which is the Year in Review, kind of a subjectively compiled list of some of the biggest and most entertaining stories from the past 12 months. So lots to do here in the month of December. I will see you back here next time on the Thinking Atheist podcast. Take care.